What's going on, Raider Nation? In this video, I want to cover the question: has Derek Carr seen his best days? Have we seen the best of Derek Carr going into year 7? Is there an actual reason to believe that we should move on from him because we're not going to get anything better out of him next year? That's what we're going to cover. But first, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and hit that little gray bell in the corner to make sure you get my notifications. At 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away, actually, go figure, an autographed Derek Carr jersey and an autographed Richie Incognito jersey. As soon as this channel, this brand new channel that we just started a little over a week ago, as soon as it hits 1,000 subscribers, we're going to be giving those away. But let's quit messing around and let's jump into this topic. So let's just kind of start with the simple stats. I want to break down in depth some things that you guys probably haven't seen before, some charts that you guys haven't seen before. I want to really get in depth on his growth throughout Derek Carr's career because that's who, in my opinion, we can best compare him to as Raider fans, the quarterback that we know the best, and that's the Derek Carr that we've watched over the last 6 years. And I want to see if this guy is growing or is he really just the guy that, a portion of the fan base thinks that he's hit a ceiling. We keep hearing it's year 6. Now we're going into year 7. What are the excuses? Well, let's see what Derek Carr is actually doing himself. And to break it down simple, just some simple things that I can tell you from what I see is that he had a career low in pass attempts. He just broke the 500 mark. But he had a second best amount of completions, which resulted in a career high in yards. Just barely broke last year's. Last year he broke over 4,000 yards. This year he topped that again. He had one of the best touchdown to interception ratios of his career. Again, of course, I would say with the offense, I was a little concerned with how much we put points on the board. Those are little things that, of course, we're going to work out this offseason and get in line. But the touchdown to interception ratio was there. Obviously, we made smart plays and didn't turn the ball over too much. Then you go to look at something that was complained about very early on in the offseason, in the 2019 season, and that was yards per attempt. He ended his season this season with the highest yards per attempt of his career. I believe the highest I think he just barely broke maybe 7 yards per attempt last year, the year before. This year he had 7.9 yards per attempt, obviously getting up there a little bit, and his passer rating for the first time in his career broke the 100 mark. So that's obviously huge. Now, looking at other things that factor into it, obviously he was heavily sacked in years like 2017 that we factored in. 2018 he was heavily sacked. Now this year he's about the league average, about right in the middle. I forget how many sacks he took exactly, maybe around 25, and I believe that was the league average. Something I also noticed was he threw the ball away quite a bit. I think fans noticed that as well. He did throw the ball away quite a bit. He was up there, I believe, top 5 in balls thrown away, along with Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and Matt Ryan. And that was something I believe was factored in with John Gruden whenever he came in. Seemed like, make the smart play. Don't throw it up there. Let it turn into a turnover. If the play's not there, throw it away. So those are the basic things that you can look at as a fan at the basic stats and obviously determine yourself whenever you're evaluating his career. So let's take this a little step further and let's jump into our first breakdown. So I'm going to give you this first chart. And this is passer rating in a clean pocket. And this is obviously something that Derek's pretty much always excelled in, and that's why we always talked about the thing. We got to get Derek protection for him to be a good quarterback. Well, as you can see, he kind of hit that mark above. There's a green line here. This green line is showing the NFL average. And I'm going to show you, there's 6 bars showing all 6 of his career years, starting 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So by the look of that, from 2014 to 2019, not much of a growth, right? He's a little bit below the NFL average. He got up there above the NFL average, and he's kind of stayed right around that area in a clean pocket, and that's where he's always excelled. Now, stats like this can be meaningless, but at the same time, I like looking at NFL passer rating. That's kind of why I chose these charts anyways, because it does show the whole picture, and I believe they're the most, the easiest way to show the entire picture without being biased. So this is Derek Carr in a clean pocket, and it looks great, right? So now let's transition over. And now this is Derek Carr under pressure. Same thing, same figure. 6 years of his career starting in 2014. Now, if you look here, this is 2016. In 2016, Derek Carr was one of those quarterbacks that was considered to be really good in a clean pocket and struggled a little bit under pressure, right? So he was right around the NFL average. Now, at the end of that year, that's where he broke his leg. And next year, this chart right here, 2017. 2017 is where he played with 3 broken bones in his back. Obviously, him playing in a pocket with a bunch of big dudes trying to take his head off, he's not going to play very well. And there's a lot of concerns with what he was going to do basically under pressure for the rest of his career, right? That was just in the year or two after that. You can see 2017, 2018, there was a small growth. Then you see the pressure now. We're looking at 2019. Let's focus on 2019. 2019 over here took it well above the NFL average. You can see this. That's why I love passer rating. I mean, because you're looking at everything. I'm looking at things like he had a 5 touchdown to 0 interception ratio. I can see that he had one of the best completion percentages, and not just completion percentages, but he had one of the best on target percentages in the NFL as well. And that's the thing that I want to hit on mainly in this video, is that there was, a dip in Derek's career in factors like this, in situational stats, because he did, face a lot of adversity. You could subtract the offensive coordinators and the personnel coming in and out of the office. Look at just Derek himself and the injuries that he had to overcome through this dip, factoring in the new offensive coordinator, factoring in new weapons coming in and out of the building. You see this steady growth into 2019 under pressure. And that's where I want to see my quarterback play well, is under pressure. That's where he's proven that he's fighting out there to extend plays and make things happen. Under pressure, this is one of the biggest key stats out there. So let's move on to the next one. And this is going to be now, like I said, same chart, when Derek was blitzed this season, or should I say his entire career. And in 2015, he had a really good year when he was being blitzed. Obviously, his rookie season, you're not going to know. You're not going to understand NFL blitz packages to your, small, almost college brain, right? So he's playing college football out there his rookie year. He's not understanding how to take an NFL blitz. We get all the way 2015 to stellar, 16, 17, 18. He's right around the NFL average. 2019, he was dang near just killer instinct. If you're bringing the pressure, he is going to make you pay. And that's going to be the one thing as a quarterback. If you're going to make defenses take that pressure off you, if you want them to stop blitzing you, the best way you can do that is to make them pay. And in 2019, Derek Carr made his opposing defense pay for blitzing him. It was almost amazing. I think he had like 10 yards per attempt, or over 10 yards per attempt when being blitzed. It was absolutely phenomenal. Probably, honestly, if you could break it down into any form of stat line, Derek Carr is probably the best under blitz. And this next chart I want to show you. And this is his third down passer rating. So on third down, this is how Derek did his entire career. You can see a little below NFL average. He had a little spike, and then bam, here we are, 2019. This is what we're focused on, is where Derek Carr was now. And in 2019, Derek Carr was absolutely lethal on third down. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the addition of Hunter Renfrow, because I guess here's a little fun fact. Hunter Renfrow was the most targeted wide receiver. If you guys already didn't know, he lived up to his name just fine. I believe he had like 32 targets on third down. Resulted in like a 56% third down conversion rate, which is absolutely nuts, because the Raiders offense actually ended the season top 5 in third down conversion rates, I believe at like 44%. So obviously Derek Carr was lights out on third down. We had 2 great backs, Josh Jacobs, who was able to serve in there, and even guys like Alec Ingold. And even, shout out to our young tight end, Foster Moreau. He had 7 targets throughout his, it was a short span. He didn't play a whole lot of snaps. He got obviously injured towards the end of the year. But he had 7 targets on third down. That resulted in 7 completions, and I believe they picked up the first down 5 of those 7 times. So obviously this offense was purring in clutch moments like third down. Derek Carr was obviously, the same thing. You look into his categories when blitzed, and you look into his categories when on third down. He was top 5 pretty much all across the board. Obviously they were super dialed in. Him and John Gruden were on the same page. Him and pretty much all of his weapons were on the same page. Whatever the play was called, they executed perfect. So let's look at this last chart. So this is going to be passer rating in the red zone. And this was probably my biggest concern this season, because I feel like the offense, managed the ball great. They moved the ball down the field great. They were top 5 really in time of possession. They were top 5 in yards per drive. They were top 5 in drive success rates. in every category whenever it came to having the football and moving the football. But where we struggled was scoring. We just, for some reason, could not score. And I think that kind of reflects a little bit in the red zone. Obviously, now these last few years, red zone Raiders offense hasn't always been the best, but we're staying right on par with the NFL average. And that's going to be something I think right now, besides the deep ball. I think the deep ball is something that we're focused on adding and making a lethal threat to this offense this offseason. I think it's also going to be red zone scoring. You see all these other charts, everything that we're able to execute on, everything I'm telling you with the drives, red zone scoring and throwing the deep ball down the field, which as I'm showing you guys these improvements, you guys got to understand, if Derek Carr is able to take one off season and work on his pocket presence, work on his third down ability, work on clutch moments, surely now he's able to take that, okay, boom, next off season, this is what I'm going to focus on. So red zone scoring could be a thing of Derek Carr's offseason this season. And do not put it past him to obviously, when next year if I make one of these charts, to take this red zone scoring and see one through the roof. So now I guess I've gone through all of these simple charts, these NFL passer rating charts. Let's talk about how important it is to have an accurate quarterback. And the first thing I want to show you is this little passing chart here. You see my little wide receiver complement of PFF. That big circle in the middle, that big blue circle in the middle. It's blue because he's considered an elite passer being on target. His accuracy is considered elite. There's only like 5 quarterbacks that are in this category. That's Mahomes, Breeze, Tannehill, Cousins, and Carr. Those are the only 5 quarterbacks that are considered elite in hitting their wide receiver right on target. And you can see the little areas around that. He doesn't throw far behind him. He doesn't throw far in front of him very often. Sometimes aims a little high, but when you have wide receivers that high point one-on-one balls like Darren Waller and Tyrell Williams, that's obviously going to be your biggest area of target besides hitting guys right there on the money, right there in the numbers. So having an accurate quarterback is very obvious, and you don't move on from a guy that has elite accuracy like that. When there's 5 guys that are considered elite and hitting dudes between the numbers, you don't move on from a guy like that. And I got one more accuracy chart here for you guys. And this is accuracy in certain wide receiver spaces. Obviously, this is kind of a situational stat, going from tight coverage all the way down to wide open. And this line down here at the bottom, same thing, green line, like the whole video. Green line is NFL average. Obviously, all of his accuracy stats are above the NFL average. But starting over here with tight coverage, he's a handful of percentages. Let me see. 4% above the NFL average. Then you go into when the defender is closing in on the wide receiver. He is 12% accurate over the NFL average. This is over the NFL average. So the NFL average, for the most part, is going to be around 40, 50%. So he's up there. He's in the 60, 62% accurate whenever the defender is closing in, and that's probably one of the most critical throwing situations. When the defender is a step behind, he's 10% above, and then whenever the wide receiver is wide open, he's right in the NFL average, which is pretty much where he should be. So accuracy plays into a lot of these things, and Derek Carr has obviously been that quarterback to have amazing arm talent. He's proven under pressure now in 2019. He's starting to extend plays more with his legs, which we've talked about this many times. He's going to start finding those holes in John Gruden's offense and improving himself more. So that's all the charts I have for you guys. So let's close this thing out. So as you can see, there's obvious things that Derek Carr is doing here that is well above average. That's on elite levels. That's on guys that you can't just find this offseason, right? They're above guys like Tom Brady. He's beating out guys like Aaron Rodgers in these categories. You can't just make this stuff up, right? So whenever you're watching him, I understand it's easy to get frustrated with a quarterback. He's the in words of the famous Raider wide receiver Jordy Nelson, the quarterback always gets too much blame and too much credit. So in this case, whenever the Raiders didn't make it to the playoffs after we all got our hopes up, the quarterback's going to get the most blame. And I get that, but you got to think about this, right? We got a quarterback now that is committed to taking this team to the playoffs. And that's also something that you can't just find in the draft. We've had plenty of guys come in here in the silver and black and be talented but not want to play for this Raiders team. I almost said Oakland Raiders. I guess they never did want to play for the Oakland Raiders. But he wants to play for the Oakland Raiders. He wants to play for the Las Vegas Raiders. That's not somebody you just move on from. He knows that he has certain things to work on just like every other quarterback in the NFL. There's no perfect quarterback in the NFL right now. I mean, given Patrick Mahomes is pretty good. I'll give him that. Lamar Jackson's pretty good. Russell Wilson's pretty good. Those are elite quarterbacks. Those guys are pretty good. They have a little less to work on than most others. But when you have a guy like Derek Carr, who in my opinion, who can break the threshold of a top 10 quarterback, that's the guy. You hold on to that. You hold on to that accuracy, and you hold on to a guy that is committed to playing for this franchise who loves being a Raider. So 2020, obviously Derek Carr's going to be our quarterback, but I just wanted to drop this video to give you guys a little bit more faith in him. He's a little bit more talented, and he's a little bit more committed to this team than you guys expect. So, like I said, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that little gray bell. Going to be giving away 2 autographed jerseys whenever this brand new page hits 1,000 subscribers. Make sure you share this on all social media platforms. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We're on everything. We got a lot of new things revamping. Subscribe to my podcast, Raider Cody Podcast. Completely different content from what you see here on YouTube. If you're watching this YouTube video, you are not hearing the same content that is on my podcast. This is completely different. So, like I said, subscribe, notifications. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers so I keep dropping videos like this. See you guys.